Aside from being a series with a lot of backstory and games you could add to your backlog, something that could make trying Trails of Cold Steel 3 a little daunting is its length, but something that makes longer games less daunting, to me at least, is playing them on Switch. And while I've already personally finished Cold Steel 3 on my PS4, the fact that there is so much side content I miss made this version of 3 something I at least wanted to try. NIS America was kind enough to supply me with a code to do that, and after spending at least 11 hours in the first 2 chapters of the game, I wanted to talk about how this port feels to play, which, spoilers, is pretty good. So here are my thoughts on this new upcoming Switch port for Trails of Cold Steel 3, and why I think it's a great option for those looking to play this big game for the first time, or those who want to dive in even more. While there are always some sacrifices when a game moves from a higher-powered console to the Switch, like frame rate and sharpness, an overall level of smoothness is something you hope for, and I'm pleased to say that Trails of Cold Steel 3 runs nicely on Switch, so nice in fact that I adjusted to its differences after just a few hours of playing. I did have that moment where I booted it up for the first time and noticed some of the characters looking a little jagged around the edges when compared to the PS4 version, and in one of the openings there were a few frame stutters that I assume are from the clip going from 60 frames in its original form to 30 frames on Switch. However, that never happened in gameplay where I'd care about it, with me most of the time not even thinking about or noticing the frame rate difference. And even when using high speed mode to get up ladders faster, I never sat there thinking that the frame rate was that different. On occasion, I noticed that long shots could look a little jagged, but close-ups looked pretty comparable to PS4, and the docked-in handheld modes on Switch I didn't really notice a difference in that should be good for those planning to play on the go. So with all that, I really don't think there will be many issues for those like myself going from the PS4 version to Switch, and especially those trying it for the first time. And of course, with the bonus of portability, it's another smooth version of the game that I'm happy to have. In addition to looking and running well, everything is mapped where you'd expect it to be on the controller, with things like holding down the R1 button to turn on auto text on PS4 translating to the R button on Switch as you'd expect. So if you're replaying the game like I was, it makes it easy to jump back in and let muscle memory lead the way. And with the tutorials for everything still shown in case you need a reminder you're diving in for the first time or back in again, everything is exactly as it should be. Finally, this Switch version does come with a wealth of costume options that you can use after the prologue if you're a colorful person or if you want a colorful second playthrough. And while I did put everyone back in regular outfits at some point just because I found it hard to take everyone seriously in their get-ups, that's another layer of fun you can look forward to, especially since some of what's included is still paid DLC from the PS4 version that I probably wouldn't pay for, but really enjoyed playing around with since I had it. Overall, this Switch version comes with a bonus of portability and DLC, and I can't argue with that as a reason to play with it again if you can get past the slight difference in visuals. And as a game that is a good fit on the system, I hope that this gets more people to play it. My experience with the Switch version is from the perspective of someone playing Trails of Cold Steel a second time, and I'll talk more about that experience soon. But for those who haven't played Cold Steel 3, if you're someone who wants to do all the side quests, or you're someone who doesn't get a lot of time to sit through some of the huge cutscenes that 3 features, I would absolutely recommend this Switch version as it fixes some of the issues I had with its PS4 version. One of the minor complaints I had about Cold Steel 3 on PS4 was that I often had to put my console in rest mode, as some of its cutscenes are quite long, sometimes over half an hour. A fact I was reminded of as I was getting footage of the game recently, which had me skip a good 8 cutscenes as I wanted to save and had seen them anyway. On the Switch version though, the skipping was something I didn't actually have to do. I can put my Switch on sleep mode like I usually would, or take it with me when I'm on the train, which makes for a smoother play experience. It takes out any minor frustration from feeling like you don't have enough time to play that makes it more immersive. And this is in addition to all the side quests and activities it has as well. And honestly, the way the game flowed better just made me feel like it was generally a better fit on Switch. While I'm glad I played my first playthrough with the slightly nicer graphics on PS4, and I do recommend checking out my review and other videos about Cold Steel 3 if you're new to the series like I was, being able to go at my own pace thanks to the Switch's abilities makes this version that little bit more enjoyable. So if you don't get much time to play games, this version is probably the best way to go. As for my second playthrough experience, I've spent it not so focused on the main story in favor of doing whatever I want. And it's been so much fun doing side quests and discovering things that make me suggest doing a second playthrough to anyone who wasn't thinking about playing Trails of Cold Steel 3 again, as I'm finding other sides of its big world that I didn't even know existed. One side quest I did actually brought in one of the antagonists that appears in the same chapter, which affected another conversation with my characters acknowledging that they'd already met her, and I would have had no idea this kind of stuff was hidden within the game without playing again, and it's exciting knowing that there are even more things hiding in the world waiting to enrich my Cold Steel 3 experience, and that's even before properly venturing into the rest of the series like I need to. This is along with trying out things like cooking and costume collecting that have made looking into other sides of the Cold Steel 3 experience something I've really enjoyed doing, and the added benefit of portability means I can do smaller activities like these in my commute to continue the fun. It's this experience of playing again in this deep a way that has me hoping more people play with the game more like I am, or discover this deep world on Switch for the first time. And in any case, this wonderful world that grows in story, in depth, and everything you do in it is a fantastic fit for a portable like Switch where you can play however you like. The Switch version of Trails of Cold Steel 3 is hands down my new favorite version of it for many reasons. The simple fact I can continue what I'm doing in-game either on my commute or later on was something that made me feel less bad about not always having time to sit through its huge cutscenes, and it really makes the experience much more accommodating for those who want to go through the game but don't know when they'll find the time to do all of it. Since Cold Steel 3 doesn't use the craziest graphics, it also looks and plays well on Switch, and while it has the usual minor downgrades you'd expect from a Switch port, everything else is smooth, all the cool parts look as good as they should, and there's a wealth of free costume options to make your first or second playthrough look visually exciting. I'm so glad this Switch version exists to give me the chance to dive more into the incredibly deep side content at my own pace, and I still think Cold Steel 3's story and world building is something that should be experienced, so if you have a Switch and are interested, at the very least give the demo a look, and I hope to hear about some of you guys diving into the world of Cold Steel 3 for the first time or again with all the conveniences this Switch version brings. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know in the comments below if you've tried Trails of Cold Steel 3, if you're gonna try the Switch version, and what you thought of the demo. And since this video should be out before release, Trails of Cold Steel 3 for Switch will be out on June 30th in North America and Europe, and if you're in Australia or New Zealand, expect to find it on July 7th. You can like and share this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to my channel for more JRPG content like this, and ring that bell to get notifications on whenever I post so you don't miss a thing. You can check out more videos here, and you can find me on social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all at JRPG Jungle. Links to those will be in the description below. Thank you to NIS America for the code, and until next time, thank you, bye!